Good morning, Alan. Hello, everyone else. Welcome to TARDIS Spider. Today, The Rescue, the first modern era styled story. That's right, the pacing and the style of The Rescue remind me of the pacing and the style used in many of the modern era stories. So let's look at The Rescue. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And now, the first modern era style story. The Rescue. In January 1965, Doctor Who has rescued the Earth from a Dalek invasion. This series will move into a two-parter that, while it is not a must-see story, it does have significant importance. It is the first time a new companion will join the TARDIS. It is also the second full writing credit for David Whittaker, one of the best writers from the 1960s. Something quietly set of importance in this story. Early after awakening the Doctor, both Barbara and Ian will have said the TARDIS landed. The Doctor's reply, yes, excuse me, materialized, I think is a better word. I believe this is the first time the term materialized is being used in the series. From the part, this story is different. A full 4 minutes pass before the TARDIS crew make their first appearance. Instead, it will start by focusing on Vicky, played by Maureen O'Brien, making this story about her. The result, we have our first modern story. Now, upon its return in 2005, Doctor Who has a format of 45-minute episode stories with an occasional two-parter thrown in. The classic format was 25-minute episodes becoming multi-part stories, 4, 5, or 6 episodes long, sometimes longer. The Rescue is a two-part story. The Edge of Destruction is the first, but was made because of schedule and budget constraints, so it is not really a good comparison. The Rescue was planned and written in two parts. Now, if the cliffhangers are removed and the two episodes sewn together, we have a modern story, not just in running time, but in pacing. A major criticism of the story is that today the mystery is obvious. There is no suspense. If you early on decide that Coquillian is someone in disguise and that it must be Bennett, you are ahead of the story and the Doctor. If we look at this as a mystery story, plenty of mysteries are based upon the audience being ahead of the detective. Here in the US, Columbo comes to mind. The reveal of Coquillian does nothing to end the dramatic tension or remove the problems the TARDIS team will face while on Dido. The scenes of the Doctor following Bennett's trail are made more suspenseful if you have made the jump that it is Bennett who must be feared, as he is a killer who is quite desperate, rather than being in league with the apparent monster, Coquillian. The rescue works because we know the hidden danger before the TARDIS team. Yes, if anyone is secretly Coquillian, it must be Bennett. This presumes that the audience does not assume Coquillian is an alien monster, when everything suggests that he is. Even once the audience knows that something is up with Bennett, the idea that he is Coquillian, while it is obvious to some, it makes more sense that he is being controlled by Coquillian. Why? Coquillian is visibly a monster. That is a brilliant joke on Whittaker's part. See, when we find out from the Doctor that Coquillian is Bennett, the Doctor will note that he is wearing ceremonial robes, something only worn on special occasions. Coquillian will then remove his mask to reveal Bennett in a rubber suit. Furthermore, the real inhabitants of Dido are quite humanoid in appearance. This is a reversal of expectations and the joke. The reason we assume that Coquillian is a monster is that he looked like a man in a rubber suit. In Doctor Who, looking like a man in a rubber suit is an extremely convincing evidence that you are an alien or a monster. Doctor Who rarely requires that we assume that anyone in a rubber suit is not a monster. The idea of the unexpected monster is in many ways the primary theme of the rescue. Everything that looks like a monster, Coquillian, Sandy, Vicky's pet, turn out not to be monsters. This is quite meta. It makes it clear that the show has known from the start that the special effects are wonky, and thus they know the effects have never been about being persuasive illusions, but rather tools in storytelling. The limitation of the effects are a part of Doctor Who. Something which sums up where people go wrong with the rescue and the Hartnell era as a whole. They expect too little from the stories themselves. Every era has stories that will meet low expectations. But here there is some elegant visual storytelling. Consider in an early scene, Vicky gives most of the exposition about the nature of the planet and the crashed ship. It's a long close up of Vicky as she describes the situation, holding tight on her face and her expressions, making the scene not about technobabble, but fear and desperation. Now, if the story has a weakness, it is that Barbara and Ian are two characters too many. Their presence explains why Bennett is the only other human around. A short story suffers if it has too many characters. Fact is, they are taking up space in this story. A four lead character story did not work then, just as it cannot work now in a 45-minute story. For the most part, this is a two character story, Vicky and the Doctor. Vicky, scared and stranded on an alien planet. The Doctor, the hero who drops out of time and space and rescues her. It is also the first time the show will ask whether the TARDIS did more harm than good in arriving. Barbara mistakes a friendly alien for a monster, brutally shooting Vicky's pet. But the key scene follows. In the response from Vicky, Vicky makes it clear that the rescue ship arrives in a few days. She's alive, and she can handle Quillian's threats, and that all the Doctor and his friends have done is murder her pet. This story and the last one are the first time the show will reinvent itself. In doing so, it has turned from an adventure serial to a cultural icon. Just like the 10th Planet and the power of the Daleks firmly established that the show is capable of reinventing itself, giving us a story that never need end. At the end of this story, we get a scene that we will see repeated over and over. Vicky walks into the TARDIS for the first time. When Barbara and Ian fell into the TARDIS, it was a place of menace. Now it has become a place of wonder. This is the baseline of every other first TARDIS entrance. With that completed, the Doctor and the team take off. New companion in tow. What a surprise! Everything has changed. Forever. Again. Enjoy the rescue. It may become your favorite classic story. So enjoy the rescue. It may become your favorite classic two-part story. Good night.